Hello and welcome to my Zone 5B garden in Colorado outside of Denver. This is Carrie. I was just talking with my nephew Kyle, who helped me put together some of the little raised beds here in the backyard. It was so helpful. Let me give you a little tour here. First, on my top deck, we have some plants that are hidden inside, tucked away. Hopefully they'll be safe through the coming cold weather. This is my little basket up here. There's some buds peeking out inside, but they're not up yet. And then a couple of little crocuses under there. But what I really wanted to show you was in the back there, my nephew helped me carry all of those rocks down an incline and make that little raised bed. So we're here in my Zone 5B backyard, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. First thing I did is I emptied out those two pots, the two square pots that you see down there, since I had overwatered them during their dormancies and they had literally begun to rot. I poured them all out and rescued a couple of bulbs that weren't dead and rotted yet, but you can see that they are in pretty deep distress. But I planted them in here just to give them a fighting chance. And then the rest here in the raised bed, there's a couple of daffodils coming up. There's some tulip foliage that you can see, and you can see some of the hyacinths that are just starting to poke up. Let's see, and then we head into the back corner. These are bulbs that are now on year 3. Many of them have split, and I expect them to be kind of reddish pink tulips that pop up. And then as we walk through the landscape, you'll just see bits and spots of color that's coming up. Some really phenomenal little tulips that are going to be filling in, as well as some daffodils. You'll also see some additional foliage from crocuses. In fact, here are some additional crocuses and even what I believe are the Lady Jane tulips coming up. I think that these kind of strappy foliage here that don't look like anything else are probably going to be the Lady Jane tulips that are a white and pink. When they open totally, they're going to look white, but on the outside, they're striped with pink. They are species tulips, and hopefully they will perennialize here in the back garden. You can see that everything that is poking up here is just happy, and I think it's probably because I haven't watered it at all, and my backyard does tend to get water just flowing from downhill. It's a soggy, wet bog back here, but then it does dry out, and so I think in the winter especially, it seems pretty happy. Here I can actually start to see inside that there are some buds that are going to come out. These should be the yellow Woodstock tulips. And then these tulips here, I am not sure what exactly they're going to be. I don't recall getting any that have the variegated foliage. They almost look like Greggii foliage from Tulips Greggii, but I don't actually know, so we'll find out. Just to come real close up there, you can definitely see the stripes. They will be pink of some kind. And then following up, some probably replete daffodils back there. And then there's just a lot of life happening here in the garden. Even this plant here, which I think it's a burning bush, but you can just see that there's green coming through on it. The little tulips here are working out okay. These are again some of those older tulips that are just coming back. And then here on a very old and sad hydrangea, there's even a little tiny spot of green that's happening. But parts that are quite exciting are here in the backyard, inside of this back bed. Really, it looks like everything is coming up. There's no row that doesn't have anything in it yet. So I think we're going to have some success here. Hopefully we get a little bit of height here, but there's definitely daffodils. You can see some daffodil foliage coming through. You can see some that just begun peeking out of the ground, so there's still that red color. The foliage hasn't become green yet. And then, of course, little tiny here. There we go. The crocuses are still pretty happy. In fact, over here, this might even be begging for some water, so might give it a bit. I'm just a bit nervous about doing that since I had such a failure with overwatering in my pots. This is a variegated willow, and just the life is exploding from it here. Look at that. This is going to turn into a wavy, almost like an octopus tentacle shrub, and it just waves in the wind, and I absolutely love its just wild and carefree nature of it here. I'm just noticing that there's even a tulip that I had popped in next to it when I was desperate for for holes to put tulips in. But yeah, and of course this shrub here, it's about as tall as I am at this point. And it was the sister plant of this sad little guy over here who had been inside the front yard. And then at the end of the year, I moved him here. But even him, you can see he's got some life. So I think we've got overall just a garden that has life coming in. I'll show you one last thing before we sign off. This is the crabapple tree. It is going to be white sterile flowers so that we don't get crabapple, rotting little fruits on the ground. Yeah, he's doing pretty well. We got him last year, and I'm just thrilled to see some leaves on him and hope that we're gonna have buds soon. So thank you for joining me, and I'm giving a little shout out to my subscriber number 1, my nephew Kyle. I love you, honey, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.